dive straight into it. Can you share more about yourself and what you actually do?
So I'm a clinical psychologist
Mm-hmm.
based in Pietermaritzburg.
Mm-hmm.
I work with adults and adolescents, and I tend to delve into lots of different things. I use art as a medium for therapy to do group psychotherapy.
Now that's something
I've
very
just merged,
interesting.
yeah, I just merged my two passions. Art has been a love and a therapeutic outlet for me for many years. And I see the benefit, so I merge the two and I run groups around that. Um, I also am very into neuropsych, and I think that there's a lot of benefit that we can use and just understanding our brain and the brain-body connection. And I use a lot of that in my practice as well.
Oh, great. Mashallah. Okay, quickly, what is neuroscience? Can you tell us more about that? How does that work?
So, neuropsychology is just understanding the different chemicals in the brain, how they combine, how they relate to the way in which the body works, and understanding which different areas of the brain are impacted by different things. So, we use it a lot in assessing when people have a stroke or a car accident or some kind of traumatic brain injury to understand what's going on where so that we can direct their rehabilitation to be more accurate, more precise, and get better results. The same way, even in understanding different illnesses, different diagnoses, it just gives us a more targeted intervention.
Okay, and what are some of the tests that you run?
So we run lots and lots of different tests. There's lots of technical names for them. But basically, I think we run tests just to look at things like your memory, the way in which your mind perceives objects in the world. So visual, spatial reasoning, working memory, visual memory, auditory memory, the way our brain processes speed, how fast it does, the ability for our brain to reason things out. So we go across a broad range just to be able to access the different little functions. But there's
Oh,
lots of
wow.
technical names for
Yeah,
that.
I can imagine, but the brain is so it's something very interesting. It's is it an organ? Is it a muscle? What is the brain, psychologist? Can you share with us some detail into the brain?
The brain is definitely an organ and it's our powerhouse organ. I think we just cannot live without it, you know that. But it
Mhm.
really is if you think about a computer, it's the powerhouse, it's what
Mm.
runs everything. So it's so important for us to have it in a good space,
Mm.
and to really target what we need to target so that it works to the best of its ability.
So it gets updates now and again. Like you say, it's like a
It
computer. So we need
does.
to keep updating our brains. Hey.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we do in therapy. We really make it evolve and we use it so that it can keep growing because as much as it's an
Mhm.
organ that actually keeps growing throughout our lives. There's a process called neurogenesis, and that's where
Mhm.
our brain has the ability to create new neurons every day and new pathways to neuroplasticity. So it's not just this dormant organ, it's a very dynamic organ that I think we just don't harness enough.
No,
So
100%.
yeah, there's lots of potential.
No, it's a very interesting topic. And I want to know what made you go into the whole neuroscience of being studying the brain and psychology. What made you do that?
I think just by nature, I'm a humanitarian. I've always been a humanitarian, and I think I come from a family of humanitarians, and I think that made me a keen observer from when I was young. I just watched people and watch how they interacted in the world, how people were so misunderstood. That naughty kid in class that always was in trouble, but nobody bothered to really understand that child and what was going on and give them the right kind of support. I also had lots of friends and people very close to me that struggled with mental health issues and was so misunderstood by friends and family. And I just wanted to understand more. I wanted to understand why you got so stuck, why there wasn't things that were given to them to support them, why people just didn't understand.
Mm.
And I really just wanted to be an advocate for change for that.
Oh, wow.
And I think just the fact that I was such an observer gave me,
Mhm.
yeah, the right foundation for that.
So an advocate for understanding. That sounds so that's something amazing. I know your practice offers a range of therapies, including couple therapy and group therapy. Could you tell us more about that as well?
So the one thing I feel actually quite passionate about with couples therapy is that people get here too late. You know, often when
Mm.
people come in for couples therapy, you can see that it would have started off with something simple that was easy to resolve, and they just get here too late. For me, couples therapy often becomes like I sit like a translator between the couples, getting them to understand each other differently. And I just wish they'd gotten here sooner. Often it's so late. There's so much of resentment that, yeah, I sometimes feel we walk just a horrible road to the end. So I think couples therapy, I want to encourage people to really get there sooner. There's so much that you can do to preserve and maintain a healthy relationship, maintain good communication. Get there sooner and it will change your relationship entirely.
Now, when you say
And
sooner, what do you mean by sooner? When is it?
sometimes I think
When?
sometimes I think right at the outset, maybe before even
Okay.
you make the commitment, but really as soon as possible. The minute you start to feel that frustration creeping up, the minute you start to feel misunderstood in your relationship, I
Mm,
think that's the time you need to get there.
mm.
So it's not leading to these massive, massive
Bottling up
conflict.
where we're sitting
Yeah.
with all this bottled up emotions and we're not expressing it. I think that comes down more also to communication. So yeah, I agree with you on that very much. So I think we should start from the
Mm.
onset. I like that. And then I know you're doing a support Palestine. I know you're supporting Palestine through trauma therapy. It is significant. Sorry, I just got a question in here. So supporting Palestine through trauma therapy is a significant goal to achieve. Can you discuss future plans and the impact you hope to achieve? Let's before we go into a break.
So I think South Africans are very well placed to support people in oppressed nations, and particularly with trauma. I think we've lived through it. I lived through the
Mm,
tail end of apartheid, and I think for me, dealing with oppression is very close to my heart. I also think because we live in such a diverse community, culturally, it gives us the opportunity to relate to people better than I think most professionals are placed because we've
mhm.
been exposed to it so much. And we've had a lot of trauma in South Africa. It's ongoing. So, what we're involved in at the moment is we're looking at different trauma models, how they'll be applicable cross culturally. And we're working with a group of psychologists that are hoping to go over with one of the organizations to Gaza to be able to get involved there because the impact of that trauma is going to be there for generations. And if we
Yeah.
can make some sort of impact to treat this acute stage and then build on something so that it's growing long term, I think we'll be able to make a significant difference. But the plan is to go over and actually get involved on the
Involved.
ground.
Wow. Inshallah, make dua that
I'm
all
very
that works out
excited
for you,
about.
inshallah. Yeah, no, that's something that's
Um,
needed and yeah, very needed. Well done on that. When we get back from the break, what we'll do is we'll discuss more about the art in psychotherapy. I'm very interested in that. Okay, chat to you after the break.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Day by day. This is Salam Media.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
After the recent attacks on Gaza, many families have been displaced with their homes left destroyed. Through your donations, our teams are on the ground in Gaza, providing support and delivering necessary aid to families affected. The people of Gaza need your help. Give hope. Donate today to Penny Appeal South Africa. www.pennyappeal.org.za 031 1100 573.
Are here on the ground with many appeal organizations in Gaza.
With so many investment options today, it's only natural that you might feel a little confused which route to take. Should I buy shares or should I invest in gold bullion? Randery Jewelers now brings you the Zahab coin, an alternative to the Kruger Rand. The Zahab coin, a solid wealth protector in its purest form of 24-karat gold, is the safest way to protect your wealth. So don't just sit there and watch your paper money depreciate. Change to gold. Call Randery Jewelers now at 031 202 4701 or visit www.rjcoin.co.za, situated at 151 Essenwood Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. I'm speaking to Quraisha Baig. She is a clinical psychologist in a private practice. She primarily provides individual psychotherapy to adults and adolescents. In addition, she also conducts psychological assessments and assessments for psycho-legal matters. Her business is called Psych Care. Welcome back, Quraisha. Let's get into this. I know you talked about the Inside Art that you are. It's a current initiative that you are doing. Do you want to share more on that? Because I'm very interested in that. I love art as well. So yeah, can we share more?
So art is a phenomenal thing. You know, our ability to be creative sits really in the front of our brain, the cerebral cortex. And that's the place where we can evoke these amazing chemicals that really help us be resilient. Getting there and staying in a place where you are creating art can have an effect very similar to exercise, where you get into this peak flow state, and it really evokes a different kind of resilience. It's also a very mindful process where you kind of just let everything else filter into the background. And in that way, it can be very healing. So what I decided, just because I know from my own art how therapeutic it is, was I do group sessions. And we guide people. You know, people think they're not artists, and you don't need to be an artist to enjoy art. So we guide people to overcome these barriers that they have. You know, everybody thinks their art needs to look amazing, or it needs to have some kind of meaning, but it's our own judgment that prevents us from being creative. So I put people in a group setting. I get them to get rid of all these ideas, and then I guide them through an activity to promote an understanding of themselves. So I'll use different questions, I'll use different activities. One of the ones I really enjoyed was the nesting dolls. You know, you get the baby doll
Mm,
inside the bigger doll.
big dolls,
So
yes, yes.
we use that to understand just our different stages of life and some of the things that we've been through to different stages that contributes to this big outer doll that's really the exhibition that we portray to the world. And just looking how one thing is layered upon the next to get us to where we are today. So it just creates a different sense of understanding where we're more forgiving of ourselves. We tend to understand some of our behaviors a bit better. Yeah, so just really to promote insights and give people another tool in their toolbox to use to cope.
And also
Another,
overcoming insecurity. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I think that would be
no
one
problem.
aspect of that is the getting rid of the insecurities that we face as human beings. I know we all sit with that. And I find that art
Absolutely.
helps you overcome that as well. Wow. Okay.
Absolutely, because there's that judgment that we have. And the other place I find it really useful is actually in a corporate context where, you know, we've
Mm,
got this big group of people working together and they just don't understand each other. So we kind of use different activities in that context. We promote an understanding of each other so you get a better, more effective, cohesive team where the conflict seems to dissipate and the team starts to work better together just by understanding where other people are at. So we give them an exercise and then get them to share their experience. Yeah, and we guide them through the process. So it's actually group psychotherapy, but yeah, using
also
something
team
to
building.
facilitate it. Absolutely.
Okay, so if we want to get businesses to get in touch with you, maybe to set up a team building session like this, or just someone who wants to come in and explore their creative side, how do they get hold of you?
They can hook up on our Instagram handle. So it's inside_art_QB. There's also, if they just contact us on our landline, it's 033
Mhm.
345 0496. And there's the alternative number, our office 071 000 6236. And they'll, yeah, chat to you about options and you can make a booking.
Oh, great stuff, great stuff. Now I know you implemented something called the BWRT. Do you want to explain that more to us so that we can get a better understanding of it? I'm going to let you do that because it's a lot of words here.
Okay, so BWRT is short for brain working recursive therapy. It's new-ish in that it's been around for the last 10, 12 years or so, and it's really a neuropsychologically based form of therapy. Um, it works very, very quickly, far more quickly than any other treatment I've used. It's effective. It can work with a wide variety of things. And essentially, what it's aimed at doing in a short space of time, so in a very short few sessions, we get your brain to install new software and basically get to the 2.0 version of yourself.
That's
But
the
the way in
upgrading.
which it absolutely. But the way in which it's done really promotes a different kind of thinking where all of the things that would have kept you stuck, that form these decision-making centers in your brain subconsciously, get archived. And in doing so, you unleash potential that was always sitting there, but was just inaccessible. And what fascinates me and what really drew me into this therapy is that it doesn't just work for the problem that you come with. You know, you'd come in maybe with a particular trauma, and then just in dealing with that trauma, it seems to unleash potential in so many different areas. So its effectiveness is phenomenal. And the period of time, you know, one of my big issues with mental health care is it's so inaccessible to so many people, and the cost makes longer term intervention just too difficult. And BWRT has made it accessible to so many because what I used to do in 6 months, I can now do in 6 sessions, maybe even less. So it's brilliant. The other thing is, because of the way in which it's designed, I find that it's really fair and respectful to the individual that you're treating. You know, a lot of therapies, we impose ideas as therapists from different ideologies on people. This therapy, because of the way in which it's been so cleverly designed, really lets the person do what its brain needs to do. And really, people are the experts on themselves. Only they can know that. I can know so much by observation, but their brain really knows what it needs to do. And this therapy is phenomenal in that way. The guy, Terence Watts, that created it is an absolute genius. And yeah, it's just respectful, it's culture fair, and really lets the brain do its magic.
Oh, wow. What I wanted to know is what age group can you start this type of therapy?
Very young. So we can start from
Okay.
children. So as
Mhm.
long as children are able to be verbal and draw a little picture, we can start with children. We go all the way up. We work with different disorders, trauma, abuse, grief, anxiety, OCD. We
Hmm.
work with a whole range of things, self-esteem, lots of physical diagnosis. You know, we get diagnosed with these chronic illnesses and we get really stuck. So we even use it to treat those diagnoses, working with that mind-body connection. It's just phenomenal at what it can be applied to.
Oh, wow. You identify with Rumi's quote in your practice. Okay. Um, I've lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens, I've been knocking from the inside. How does this quote capture a profound aspect of psychotherapy?
You know, you're one of the first people to ask me about that, and I'm so excited that you did. It's been there for years. I've had it around for years, and people just don't engage with it. And I think, oh, this
Okay,
quote
I'm a
is
Rumi fan. I'm a
phenomenal.
Rumi fan, so
Oh,
that's why. Got the
great.
Masnavi on my bookshelf, so yes.
Phenomenal thing to have.
Mm,
So for me, you know, we talk about this internal jihad that we're supposed to live our lives through, this constant development. And I think therapy is a lot about that. You know, I think therapy and
mm.
the real intense psychotherapy is this jihad that we sit with. And you know, it's almost like making a shura where you come to somebody else and you talk through this thing. And for me, this quote really captures that essence of the process because in this journey of insanity, you know, we're talking about this journey of introspection and self-exploration, where we sit with these things that are holding us captive and we walk through them and we get to this point where through deep introspection and looking at things where you're not just stuck in that insanity with tunnel vision,
Mm.
you open up this door and you get absolute transformation and empowerment. You get these profound insights and discoveries that are really the inner resources within yourself, and it can emerge through this therapeutic process, you know, but it emerges in a way where you are accessing within you the ability to see things differently, to engage in a world differently, to have agency, insight, understanding that's transferred into other areas of your life. So that process and that process of self-discovery really mirrors that quote in therapy. Like, yeah, it captures it so beautifully. It captures the essence that we can't always describe and remain, and that absolute moment of insight where you realize you've been looking at it. It's about perspective. You've just been looking at it from the wrong direction. For me,
Wow, that's
that
profound.
really hit home.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. That was really profound and it sat with me here. Again, if our viewers want to get hold of you or our listeners, they want to get hold of you, can you repeat how they can get hold of you before we end this conversation?
The best way is to catch me through my practice. I'm terrible with my phone. I don't answer it much, especially when I'm in therapy. I think it's very disrespectful. So
No,
our
true.
office number, we're based in Pietermaritzburg. Our office number is 033 345 0946 or 071 0006236, and my receptionist will gladly help you out. We do in-person and online therapy. So if you're other places in the country, we can still sort something out.
Great stuff. Jazakallah so much, Quraish. It was lovely chatting to you. I enjoyed the session. What I wanted to say is thank you again for your support, for coming on board and supporting an NPO that we will be discussing soon. Jazakallah so much for that. And yeah,
It's a
I hope our
pleasure. Thank
paths
you
meet
for.
soon, inshallah.
I really hope so too. It's such a pleasure to be involved, and thank you for inviting me on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. We're breaking now for an ad break, and then we'll get back to speaking to Fahima Mulji, the NPO